All right, it's 1:30. It's the end of the conference. I appreciate you coming out. I know it's the very last session, so I'm honored you're here. My name is Nate. I manage the RevOps Insights team at 1Password. So that's the team responsible for all the go-to-market analytics for sales leaders and customer success and top of funnel and all of that world. So I have 12, 13 years of data experience. I've gotten to manage everything from building an analytics engineering team at Smartsheet to running data at a small startup to doing RevOps analytics as one of those ICs. So I've kind of seen the gamut of data. I haven't met a lot of people who have done both really in-depth RevOps data and like on analytics engineering itself. So I bridged that spot. So a lot of this chat is to explain that tension that I see between central data teams and teams that are on go-to-market and kind of like, how can we bridge that a bit better? It's a world I live in uniquely, and I want to bring some other folks along for the ride. It's a fun spot to be. So in short, there's like this kind of perception difference between the two teams where data teams think one thing. I'm a meme person, by the way, so if you're Gen Z, I heard they don't like memes. My promise is to send you a thumbs up emoji for all of that, because I hear they also don't like thumbs up emojis. I'll wear short socks also. I'll find all the things to annoy Gen Z. So we have this tension that exists, and I feel like it shouldn't. I think in this room, we can make that tension evaporate a bit. You can find ways to bridge into places and have really interesting work come out of it for everyone. So from the data's perspective, and this is one I've gotten to work several years on a central data team, a lot of times you're like, these sales teams ask for things, they don't get how hard this is. Like we're at a conference learning about how to keep our pipelines clean and cheap and make sure they're not repetitive, and data quality is hard. So go-to-market teams don't understand that enough. That the go-to-market team doesn't even know what they want. Like they're like, give me this, and you give it to them, they're like, not that, give me something else. So it happens really often. I've experienced it on both sides, actually. I've been that person and the person receiving it. And finally, that the go-to-market teams don't really care about what's true. They just want numbers to like, make my MQLs look awesome. Like, make my sales pipeline look sterling. Like, they want, it kind of comes across as like performative numbers instead of numbers that you're actually like, are relaying a truth that you should dig into. So that's data. From go-to-market, the data team doesn't really understand the business. They're like off at Las Vegas learning about DBT models, and like that does not matter to help me close pipeline today. So they're kind of, the perspective is like they're disconnected from us, which is sometimes a really fair criticism of that central team. That those requests go into like a bottomless queue of like, finance asks them for stuff, and marketing wants stuff, and product wants stuff, and it's like this like amorphous queue where you don't know where your request is. So it can kind of take a long time and maybe not even happen at all. And again, when I ask for something, they don't give me what I want. Like they're like, you gave me a pipeline number, but like, what do I do with this? Like, do I talk to someone? Like, they don't give me necessarily what I want. But it's hard for the sales team to like express the thing they want sometimes to the data team. So I think we should be friends. I think we can be friends. In short, and this is a bit of my sales pitch to this room, in particular, people who kind of, analytics engineers bridge that business domain and the technical domain in a unique way. They need you. We need you. We need more analysts and go-to-market engineers and analytics engineers that know that technical and business domain. Those teams are hungry for like a partner that gets them. This is honestly like where I've found the most success, is saying, hey, sales leader, I get what you want, and I can go find it for you, and I won't get stuck in a queue with a data team. So that technical partner, like they really are looking for someone in that kind of vein that understands sales. And finally, they're close to the money. If you go close to the money, it's like good for everybody. It's a really nice spot to be. You find that you have budget for things, and you're able to work on problems that matter, because these are like the high leverage issues that if you solve it, your company does something really cool, and you get to be part of that ride. It's really fun. To clarify, you'll hear data enrichment. Especially for this room, there are two terms of it. There's like a go-to-market version of it. This is like very funny. It's like this way. There's a go-to-market enrichment, and there is a data enrichment. So go-to-market data enrichment, if you hear the term on a Salesforce team, it's our accounts, what are their headquarters, what's their employee count, what industry are they in, kind of like that like firmographic data about people or companies. So that's data enrichment there. I will try to couch it in that context when it comes up and is relevant. We also have analytics enrichment. We all know this. This is like the data modeling, taking raw data, enriching it into something that we can use for the business. So there are two. You'll hear them throughout, calling it out now that they are very different concepts. So let's talk about the former to start, which is enriching these leads and accounts with data from AI and large language models. And this has come a long way. Like even in the little time since I built this slide, there is a lot of advancement that's happened. And so I'll go into pieces around, there's entire companies being built to help go-to-market teams with this. I'm going to give an example that I was able to do personally that now there's like lots of ways to do it, but this is an example of how to use AI. And this will seem really simple to a lot of the people in the room. To a go-to-market team, it seems like black magic rocket fuel for like their account system. So Jacob Matson, he's a great follow on Twitter and other social places. He showed in MotherDuck that, this is about a year ago, you can see October 17th of last year is where this is from, that they put in like you could query a large language model prompt inside of SQL, like in a part of the select statement. And so I said, can I do that like myself? And so I went on this journey. So first off, someone asked me to pull industries, like ARR by industry, at a company I was at. Who's ever had like unknown be like this gigantic bar when they try to pull industries, right? So, and then like there's also like 50 industries. Like even if I filled them in, like 50 industries is way too much. Like that's not even a useful amount of industries to go break down. So yes, this is real. I just pulled a screenshot from the actual slide. So I decided I could figure out a way. I wanted to try that large language model, and Snowflake enabled this. They had a way to be able to query different open source LLMs in Snowflake. So here's how I approached it. We'll get to the AI piece in a second. But first of all, please come up with a list of industries that is not 50 long and isn't like various subcategories of like solar and renewable energy and wind, like lots of small ones you don't really necessarily need. So 10 to 15 of those. A large language model can help you refine that. So use that to your advantage. I did it myself. Gather those helpful data points for the large language model. You can pass into it from your Salesforce system, right? And if you have it in Snowflake, you have your account and the name, and maybe there's some notes left by the salesperson. Pass those into the large language model so it can take those and then use it to figure out what industry or employee count might be there. And then refine that prompt to get what you want, and then confirm that your data is all accurate and clean. And then profit. So here's my initial query. I had a big like concatenated statement saying, here's a list of things, and like, please give it to me. And I got back this. It's hard to see from the screen here, but basically that's like, it's a very verbose version of something that GPTs give you of like, I looked into this and I think it's probably this, but it might be mechanical engineering. It's like useless text. So I decided to put on my best prompt engineer hat and figure out how to deal with this. So I decided to give it some like specifics, like only give me the industry, like that is all that I want. So I highlighted the line that added in that actually like was the one I put it various places. That helped out. And so I have a final iteration. You'll be able to see it with the slides. I don't want to like read off all of it, but I passed in that industry categorization. So the 14 industries I had, I said, here's the description of them. Use that as your context to then put them in the right place. So fun enough. So this is an example. I couldn't pull like data from the company like account data, so I pulled accounts that are near where I live, a little north of Seattle, put them in there. And so these, and I also know what kind of industry they are, so I could like check the accuracy. This is about spot on of what I saw with like real data in a real CRM. This really simple thing of like passing some industries, a couple pieces of information about the account, you get like 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5 correct immediately. So really cool to see. And you can go review the high value ones. There's all sorts of ways to make sure that you have your data used in such a way that like the really important ones are accurate. Go review those. But this was really striking to me to be able to like have such a simple use case and have it sort everything into a nice and neat version of industries. 15 of them. You could actually use this and maybe you have some sub-industries, but I can categorize them. I was very happy about it. And the RevOps leader I was working for also, we had data we could use and enrich. So there are patterns now to be able to do this ongoing, right? This is like a one-time thing, and so there's programs like Clay and some others that let you enrich it as we go on. But for a one-time shot, like I was pretty happy with the results of this. Let's go into enrichment as this room knows it. So there are various ways to enrich objects for sales teams. And I'm going to go through the method I've kind of won through doing it 3 or 4 times at different sizes of companies, different CRM integrations. And there is a way to build simple, trustworthy tables in this room. And I think this is one that will resonate, hopefully. I think a lot of you have probably done this where you work. If you've done work in DBT, DBT is what powers this. So we'll go into some details on it. First, go-to-market teams don't operate in like Snowflake or Star or like whatever schema, the data vault. Like the schema you choose is kind of behind the scenes. They think in terms of these, like what are my accounts? What are the opportunities? What are the subscriptions they have? All of those really like discrete atomic things. So think about it like this. If you ever worked with Salesforce data, small joke, contacts and leads should not be different objects. They're the same object. So I do not know why. They're two different things in Salesforce. It's a headache if you get to one warning. That will be a headache if you come over and do some go-to-market stuff. So this is the biggest issue I see with data teams, and this is a temptation I've also given into at times of, like, I want to work on really cool tools and really cool implementations of new things, and at the end of the day, like, that can diverge from business value in some pretty fundamental ways. So make sure that if you build complexity in, it's solving a problem, not just the problem of, I want to do something cool. Like, there has to be some business value towards it. So I get it. I've experienced this myself. So let me go through how I enrich data, kind of like the setup of, and I'm doing this right now at 1Password. I've been there about 6 months, so I'm kind of getting my feet underneath me, and I know the world now, and this is similar to what they have in their central repo, and we're going to use it for our sales data. So we first have our source data. This is really that replica you get in, whether it's from Fivetran or you use Airbyte or your own system. I've used Meltano in the past, but whatever you use, it's as close as you can get to raw. We all kind of get that piece. There is then a prep step. So I take that raw data, and it's still one row per all of those source rows. So like every single account is still there. And this is where you there's date formatting that happens. Like I've seen dates coming from CRMs that are like December 14th, comma, whatever, and it's not parsable even by Snowflake. It's like thinks it's like text. So reformat your text, flatten JSON. You can get JSON out and like flatten it into rows here. Get your kind of atomic level. And this is nice to have it separated from your data modeling. Like you do the date formatting once, and the analysts and whoever else don't have to remember to format dates like later on in the steps. Finally, this is really important. We're not joining stuff yet. We're like still in one object. So like your prep or your account object, you have your source and your prep, you're still an account. You have not joined opportunity, you've not joined quote, you're like single an account, and right here's where you put your business logic in. Like this account, a good example is you have, let's say, an employee count field in there. Here's where you say 0 to 50 is small, 50 to 200 is our medium businesses. Like that kind of in single object logic is really handy in this spot. Don't yet join stuff in, it'll add complexity and explode it pretty quickly. And finally, core is where you join account to opportunity, or in this case, like in Salesforce, you take quote lines, and those go to quotes, and quotes go to opportunities, and opportunities go, like you kind of build your layer up that way in the core area. So this is one that I've skipped the prep step before and regretted it highly at a pretty complex integration. So I've added to this or looked at it and said, we can join these together, and I found it's pretty hard to break apart these. There's even some I'd put inside of these for special cases, but in short, I found this to be a really nice way to keep your model simple. You can use star and Snowflake and all sorts of things behind it, but this helps add some structure to it. So if you don't do this, and this is totally not spoken from experience, you don't know what ports are going to break when something changes. Like at Salesforce, again, columns change. It is really common to say, we're eliminating these columns. You'll change like a name of something in Salesforce. And all of a sudden, the question you'll get from your VP is, so what reports are going to break so we can prep for it? And your answer is, I have no idea what's going to break. Like people are they're hitting raw and doing their own stuff. And so I don't have visibility into their Excel flows. Tableau, I've used Tableau for 15 years, like almost the whole time, I think since 2011. And Tableau has this really insidious thing called custom SQL, where you can like ignore all models and like write your own SQL, which is super cool until this happens. Then all of a sudden you don't know what's going to break or not. Most BI tools have this like, oh, just write your own if you can't get the data team to do it. So reports break, and it's a really painful kind of moment. So in short, Chuck Norris approves of this, and if he approves of it, then I think we can all use the data model. So I've found it to work really well. There's some bits and pieces I change in. I'm happy to chat about it more with anyone curious, but this works well for sales. I'll say this. I've seen complexity added where it makes sense, especially with product data where it's like, you're getting like 3 million rows a day of like people doing stuff in the app. This might break down at that world. I think it might not work in that domain. For sales though, like you don't really need to do much beyond this. Like Salesforce tables, you're getting like a few million rows. Maybe your lead has 20, 30 million rows. It's not. You can use it on like your local machine with DuckDB. Like it's not like this gigantic data set you can't use. So speaking of the local piece, this is a really crucial one that I've been able to unlock for development, and this is for the team that I'm running right now with the RevOps team. So a lot of them, they haven't really used dbt before. They haven't used Git before. It's a great introduction to them locally, and you can do a lot of this now with technology. So Meltano, you can bring some data in from Salesforce, pretty simple to do. dbt you can have on your local machine. The key unlock for this is DuckDB. I have not used it a lot in the past, but now that I'm here where it's like there's a really strong workflow you can do locally, you can run all this, the dbt DuckDB adapter lets you run all sorts of stuff locally, and it unlocks my team to have a sandbox to develop rapidly, like right there. They can pull in new columns from Salesforce. They don't have to wait for data engineering. They don't have to wait for the data lake to sync. We can pull it in locally and use it and develop metrics locally with ourselves and with our stakeholders. And when they're settled and they look good and they are ready for production, then we can say, here's our dbt models, because we wrote them locally. Like, let's pass them to the central data team, and you all now can take that and put it into the central data repo. So this really powerful kind of feedback loop locally is one that I'm really leaning into in the new role. It's one that I didn't have a chance to do before. And so using, and you can have Git, and then GitHub allows the team to share logic. When someone figures out how to calculate discounts for this product, like no one wants to dive into that world again. Save it in the repo. We have the logic for forever, and we can pass it to the central team. So it's kind of a nice, like the sandbox world now is incredibly powerful, and I'll let you go through this. So I took some screenshots. This one's from this morning. It took me 6 seconds to run 44 models, 58 tests, like locally, just on my like Mac. So this, I wish I had this like a few years ago. Like this would be so nice to do. To have dbt run it and be confident my data's right. I have tests running on it. Like that's just, like, to me, it's kind of magic, and I can give it to folks who have never used dbt on the team, and they're like, this is magic. Like, I can do this locally. I don't need, like, to install a database. I don't need Snowflake. Like, it's just local. I have some examples on slides. I won't spend a ton of time on it, but here's, like, what the model. I have, like, a YAML file for each prep model I built for account. Here's just some basic, like, here's the account, or the opportunity fields that I have, and then I have a couple tests that go along with it. Very similar for logic. This is where you can see I'm adding in like a stage group, like if it's 1, then it's 1. If lost, then lost. Otherwise, it's open, like kind of basic Salesforce stuff. So I build the logic pieces there. And then finally in core, here's where I bring opportunity. I have a dates field that helps me bring in quarters and things like that, and then join account into opportunity. You get it there. So the logic pieces go together. So in short, like really handy, like for the sales world to build simple models. Keep it simple. Please don't overcomplicate the world for sales, and you'll learn that you can get a lot more done with your sales leaders, and they will love you for it because you give them an opportunity object, and they can go explore it in Looker or Tableau or Excel, wherever it might be. So let's go into I think this is the fastest changing part of go-to-market and RevOps teams right now, is the AI concept of go-to-market engineering. We'll go into that concept a little bit. It might be a new term to some of you. If you've been around RevOps, you probably have heard it. There's blogs going around about it right now. In short, like go-to-market teams need help automating data flows. Like what happens is they get underserved by data teams, really common, because data teams are close to product or they're close to wherever else, finance. And they go into spreadsheet mode. Like they don't really have dbt knowledge. They don't have a lot of like software experience, and so they export from Salesforce and then jam it into Excel and then like do VLOOKUPs. And then when someone says refresh that, they spend another 6 hours refreshing the thing. So it's really like there's a lot of automation to do, including for updating things like account information. So this looks familiar for us, a lot of manual data cleansing for data people. Imagine how it is for someone like without your sk set who just uses spreadsheets. It's very overwhelming. So they need the help. RevTech is pretty amazing. If there's a thing that a salesperson needs to do, there's probably like 50 tools for it. So you'll find all sorts of RevTech, and you buy it all for enriching accounts, and I have stuff for lead routing, and I have stuff for da-da-da, and like customer success needs things for like renewals, and there's just a piece of tech for every problem out there. So there's tool sprawl. So you add in folks who don't have this like kind of programming experience to move things together automatically, and a lot of tools, and it gets really messy really quickly. So instead of prompt engineer, what about a go-to-market engineer has started to show up? I'll say this. Go-to-market engineering is unique to RevOps as well, as RevOps hasn't been, I've mentioned, it hasn't been as technical as of a role in the past. And so this happened to me, actually my first RevOps job, is I was really good at this and I was pretty technical, and they said, hey, go over here to the central data team. Like they kind of like, if you're technical, like in the RevOps side, you get vacuumed out of the RevOps team and up into data. So I think we're starting to see a bit of a flow back, thankfully, to the RevOps team. We just hired a go-to-market engineer on the team about a week and a half ago. So this is really new for us. So even since I made these slides, we're like thinking of problems now to go solve with a go-to-market engineer on the team. But in short, they're kind of a mix of like an operations person who like gets the operations side of things and like how to make things efficient. They're a sales expert. They know, like, typically they came from a sales background in some way, or they have like been like a quota-carrying person, like something where they really know sales processes really well. And then they have an idea of like growth. Like they don't want to just work their kind of thing. They want things to be better and make it better for everyone and like grow revenue out of that experience. So I have a few examples of problems we can solve as go-to-market engineers, and I have a couple others I'll kind of add in as we've like in the last like 2 weeks figured out the things we're gonna go work on as well. But one of them is to automate some like load-bearing spreadsheets for people. Again, I mentioned there's spreadsheets, people are moving things around manually. There's a huge opportunity to go and fix this. I'll give an example from my first full-time data job. I was on the sales floor of a manufacturing company, and they were selling product, and what would happen was there was a central Excel spreadsheet that one person would have open on their computer, like a shared one on a shared file, so only one person could have it open and edit it at a time. And so a customer would call and say, hey, I want to order this item. And the salesperson would go to the system and try to order it. If it couldn't order, they would say, hey, this item's out of stock, can you adjust the spreadsheet? And the person would go and like adjust the spreadsheet and hit enter, then everyone knew it was out of stock. It's like this crazy manual spreadsheet moment. Go and find a way to automate that. Like you can go to the system and the system knows the stock. Like when you try to put an order in, it'll tell you if it doesn't have stock. Go and find those little processes, they exist. I found another one at a tech company, so this is what wasn't manufacturing, it was at a tech spot, and every salesperson got an hour-long training of how to export out of Salesforce and adjust data on a weekly basis for their account list, right? Like that's another like pretty easy win. Like go and figure out a way to automate that. And everyone appreciates it, and I saw it up on people's computers for years. And now when I talk to people, they say, we want to get rid of those, but people still freaking use it all the time. This is really, so people find it useful even if it seems kind of, what's the word for it? It just seems kind of duct taped. Like it's really, if it's useful, it will be used, even if it looks kind of duct taped in the background. Integrate some like basic product data into these workflows. It's really common to see product data live with the product team, and they have all this like, here's our active users, and here's the people doing this really cool thing, and this guy's made a DBT project with 50,000 models. Like that data kind of lives in the product world. Sales teams really need it. The CS team, when they're going for a renewal, there's a lot of data that they need around product, and oftentimes it's immature. Like they need something specific to help them know, is this customer healthy? Are they using other licenses? Is their activity moving up or down? Is one that I almost never see. You have to like think about how to like look at like an overtime view of it. So think about product data, enable some like lead scoring or health scoring. Those things can be, if they're done on their own in a central team and not with the go-to-market team's input and their thoughts on here's what a useful model would be for me, you as a data team can spend, and I've seen this, like 9 months working on a thing, and you bring it out, and the VPs go, I'm not using that. That's like, you don't know my business. So really crucial to partner with the sales team on this like lead scoring. Almost everyone who's worked on product data has probably been asked about this from the sales team. Please partner with them instead of going to a black box and making something. Finally, empower self-serve in multiple BI tools. This is a perspective I've changed my mind on over time. I used to say, we need one Tableau and everyone uses that for the source of truth, like go there. I think if you create really good data models, and this is true, I could probably add like AI agents onto this now. This is like a new piece that we could probably start adding to the pie of build a really clean data set that you can use, and Tableau can sit on it, and you can connect it directly to Excel, which I've done a lot before. Your AI agent in Slack can connect to that table in Snowflake, whatever it might be. Think about the self-serve aspect, especially for sales. They're all over the place. Again, you saw the RevTech like count. They got tools everywhere to go use. So think about having these core data sets and building out from those and giving those to your stakeholders. We have other pieces we're looking at now, like lead enrichment with AI is a really crucial one that we're looking at building out. There's a couple other like account firmographic data I showed you in the first example. Again, we can automate that with a lot of the AI tech coming out with an engineering mindset. There's not a lot of tech knowledge on rev teams, and so if you thought about like, I really enjoy like working with the tech and automating things, and I don't see an opportunity on RevOps yet, this role is coming. Like this is becoming, like if you saw like the chart, it's like very much a hockey stick kind of role that you'll start seeing more and more because the rev team is high leverage and they don't have a lot of tech yet, so it's a great spot to fit in and go do some really cool stuff. in a place where not a lot of people have solved the problem yet. So again, you can use AI to enrich pieces. It's really like incredible what you can do now. Like every week there's something new to learn. I've learned a lot even in the last few days at the conference. I hope you have too. Enable self-serve through like some kind of simple data model to go use for them, and think about go-to-market. Like think about it as an engineer is the key change I think coming to RevOps teams. So thank you again for coming. I think there's a few minutes for questions, but yeah, thanks for coming for your last session of the day. Yeah.
Some practical advice for how to partner with sales teams, especially if you are in a single data team.
How to partner with sales teams? Say that last part again?
Like,
there we go. Yeah.
So like, yeah, how to partner with sales teams? Practically, like, are you trying to attend more meetings with the sales team? Just to sort of, how do you have your finger on the pulse of the business if you're in a central data team?
Yeah, that's a really good question. This is part of it. I'm pretty strongly on the side of having your analytics people be embedded in the team. That's why I'm underneath the CRO org. I'm not in the central data org, really on purpose to be more than report pullers that are kind of low context. We want to be really high context people that go to all the team meetings. You go to the happy hours if there's something in person. You go to the sales kickoff that might be across the country. You try to have one-on-one. It's really hard remotely. I work remote, so my frame of mind is that. But high context is the key piece of it, and a lot of that is intentionally being part of their meetings and having yourself feel like you're on the team, where if they say, I need a team meeting, I want Nate there. Like I want that to be the thought that they have. Hard to do remote though. I used to do, when COVID happened, I remember by the time July rolled around, I realized my work had dried up. I was like, wait, like I don't have like to-dos, and I didn't realize how dependent I was on like in-office interactions with people. So remote, you have to be much more intentional. If you're in person, I think you can do a lot more like hopping around and talking to people during the day. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, how are you finding moving data between, CRMs back to, you've got, your own databases, and then they've got I found that sales teams want to work in their CRMs. Mm-hmm. So you're moving it back and forward a lot. Was that a challenge that you had to face? Like, how are you overcoming that?
Yeah, it is even a challenge now as we have that pipeline, right? We have it like to our kind of central data area, and then the central data area does DBT models, and then those models throw data back into the CRM that's kind of aggregated. So we have that motion. Part of it is, part of the key is to know when they ask for data that's like a reporting thing they need to know about versus an operational data point is the like differentiator that I think about to limit like having an explosion of data points moving back to the CRM. So I was just on a meeting even a couple weeks ago where we were deciding between if it's a reporting metric, like let's make a dashboard about that and have it be somewhere that like, it usually needs data from product and other sources to like be together in a spot. So let's like have that be a dashboard versus if it's operational, if I need to make a decision on this customer is waning in its usage of the app, like this will make a list in Salesforce people can work on, like bring that in. So for me, it's like trying to parse apart what are you trying to put in Salesforce because you don't get the report you need versus what do you need in Salesforce to like do the thing today. And so I try to focus on the like action-oriented ones back into Salesforce. Does that help? Yeah.
How did you help ease the way for analysts who are used to working in spreadsheets into using tools like DuckDB and DBT, and like what resistance did you encounter and successful strategies for getting through that resistance?
Yeah, good question. It's funny, a lot of them want to learn it. The resistance has been setting up environments on the machines has been, like it sounds kind of funny, but the resistance is number one, discomfort. You have to learn a new thing. And so for me, it's been showing them the art of the possible. It's that right now you're taking all these spreadsheets and trying to jam them together. And if you can describe the pain they're experiencing of like how hard it is to develop what they don't know the wording, like a data model, and then show them, I built this in here and it runs in 6 seconds, like you can build this in your machine. Giving them kind of a sandbox to go play in. I've enjoyed like the sandbox experience, so it's a pretty simple like download the repo and like it's pretty active on your machine within a couple hours. So if you can get it set up, I've found that people are open to it. The other piece is like learning SQL. A lot of them don't know SQL yet, so they have to kind of say, this language isn't like super scary, we can go learn it. And with GPT, I think GPT must have made it easier because I see less resistance to like learning because they can ask a machine what to do. Cool, we good? Thank you so much. Enjoy your trip home. See you later.